What's up, y'all? Welcome to the Dark Preview Show, and it's Luke and Dan once again. We're here to firstly recap the fuckery of round 7, but also to preview round 8 and give out our absolute best bets. I've got 4. Luke's got another 77 to give out. But Luke, how you feeling after the bludger of a betting round it was last week?
It was a tale of two halves. First tiny game, 2-0. Then
Yep.
downhill from there. Went 0-7 on the next lot of bets. But I did think about it, did some reflecting, and there's some things I want to talk about. And this first thing is, I'm going to give you 6 things, and I want you to tell me what they've all got in common. All right?
All right, give it to me.
All right. Camping, the TV show Friends, avocado on toast, your pen license, and the 2023 Roosters team.
Oh, fuck, I almost had a seizure. I don't know. What do those have in common?
They're all fucking overrated. That's what they are. They're fucked. Like, they're the most overrated. People hype them up. They underdeliver every time. Every single one. Camping underdelivers. Like, it's fucking why go somewhere that's worse than
camping is talking about it when you're done.
Yes, that's it. Like, there's nothing good about camping, right? The TV show Friends. People think it's funny. It's not funny. Let's be honest. It's shit. Avocado on toast. It's fucking overrated. Overpriced as well. We could put that in the same category. The beach, same thing. I'll go for swims. Get sand everywhere. Shit. Sharks eat you. You name it. It's shit. Walks on the beach. Shit. Your pen license. All this hype about, I can write a pen. Fuck, there's no fucking pen license. That was a myth. That's so overrated. Yeah. It's shit. And then the Roosters. My God, how were they? Everyone was like, they're going to win the comp. They're going to win the comp. And the whole narrative of that second half, the Friday night football games, those second halves went for an eternity. And they were awful. They were shit. The Roosters, I'm putting a line through them. Like, I can't see them getting any better.
That's a big call, but they have been very disappointing.
Overrated.
Bradley. Jesus Christ. Well, fire up. You're only on the Friday. There was another full weekend. We went 0-7. So what else happened?
We go to the Panthers game. Fucking hell. That was a good game to watch. But again, my bets were Penrith cover line. They never covered line. Obviously came close. But Knights under 12.5. Penrith, like, in all their worst games they've played, like, they were playing awful.
Yeah.
Still only conceded 16 points. I missed that line. So they literally got the worst Penrith performance and still nearly covered that line. The Melbourne Storm against Manly, that was, I mean, if anyone's lost a house or a mortgage because I told them to put everything they got on it.
I know Hobbo did.
Yeah, well, call back the bank and refinance, baby, because I got better bets this week. We're back, all right? That was obviously
that Storm game went longer than the AFL game that was on that night. You know that?
That's insane. That's a very good stat.
Normally at the end of NRL, you can tune into the last 10 minutes of the AFL.
Yeah.
And this NRL game went longer.
The most exciting thing about that game was Olam getting folded. That sums up that game for me. That was some hit, though, to be fair. But fuck happened to Melbourne? Like, how does Manly go from we can't tackle to Melbourne going, fuck, we can't attack?
Physically dominated for 80 minutes. That was.
Belted for 80 minutes.
All the Islanders for Manly started playing like Islanders. It was crazy. They were bigger, rougher. They didn't give a fuck.
No, they were trying to hurt each other. And I don't condone violence except in football games. I am fully supportive of violence.
Yeah.
Then Sunday rolled around and I thought, fuck, I'm in shit creek here. I need some bounce back games. I obviously had the over 41.5 in the Raiders and Dragons game. And if anyone did listen back, I did say, the weather's not going to look good, but it was great.
It was excellent.
It was the first half of boringness that fucking killed it at 6-0 at half time, but there was still 34. There was 28 points scored in the second half, which the second half was meant to be what happened in the first half as well, which didn't fucking happen. Last game, listen, over 17.5 Dogs points. Yeah. I'll put my hand up saying, yep, way wrong on that, but I will, in my defense, kick out fucked his injury the day after we record the podcast. So, I'm not the biggest. I think I could add kick out of the overrated list, to be fair, but did cost me, so I'm not going to add him to that list. How'd you go?
I went 1-3 last week, trying to be extra selective. Quite a bit. I was obviously on the Roosters, but they got ambushed early. They had nothing. I got a feeling Radley was going to the bin, and eventually he did, which guarantees the Roosters lost anyway. Yeah, but the Sharks were just dominating up the middle, so that was fucked. Killed quite a few of my multis that I had running. And then the Manly game rolled around, and I was like, at least, come on. If the Storm just roll these wankers, like, I'll be all right here. I'll be happy with that. And then after the first couple of minutes, I was like, live bet Manly boys, if they can keep this up, they're going to pound the Storm. But they were pounding them, and the deficit was minimal. And I'm like, the Storm can come back here. But then it was just errors, clunky attack, fucking penalties, 6 agains. There were sin bins all over. It was they had no rhythm. So they were always a chance, but never looked like it. So that was a bit more fuckery on a Friday night. And then Saturday rolled around.
Just on that game, Turbo was still not 100% either.
No.
They fucking won.
He didn't need to be.
He literally, apart from that try he scored, there was a Melbourne try where he was nowhere to be seen. Like, he wasn't even trying to cover.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it was unbelievable. Then Saturday rolls around. Obviously, skip the Warriors game because that was a pick-em. Panthers game comes around. I had Panthers over 28.5. And I was like, here we go. They're going to run riot here. There's going to be a lot of points. And there was fucking nothing. Nothing was happening. I was watching that game and I was like, I just hope that the Knights win. Like, I'm not winning my bet. I just hope a lot of other people get fucked over. So I wanted the Knights to win. And then the one I got right was the Broncos game, or the Broncos over 26.5. So plenty of points in that one. And my boys, look, we didn't play that great, but we packed on the points. So that's always pretty good. And the last ones I also had, I think I had the Dogs over 17.5 or the Dogs to cover 7.5. One of those. Either of them, they were both fucked. The Dogs are, man, they were shit. Parramatta having 1 to 12 games every single week coming up against the Dogs. Dogs never looked in it. It was absolutely atrocious. So shocking round for me. But the last thing I'll say about last week, I did a little bit of analysis to figure out what the fuck is going on. Like, I've already admitted in my mind, I have been betting a little bit like a casual. Like, I've been a casual better since this shit run has happened. And I know that because I pick, I back a play and everyone agrees with me. And I'm like, fuck, I am the voice of the public right now, which is it's not a good thing because the public always loses. So I've had to strip away my biases, my first opinion on the game, because that's a very casual thought. You got to dig a little bit deeper to find the edge here. What I've done, I pulled out some betting trends from last week. So if we're looking at dogs and favorites, the underdogs covered in 4 out of 7 games last week. The Warriors game was a pick'em. So didn't classify that in my trends. Here's a bigger one. Now, when you're looking at totals, there are only 2 games that went over last week. Both of those happened to be in the sunny state of Queensland. Sydney, cold weather, light rain throughout all of Sydney. And in NZ, it was windy as fuck. They were kicking into a bloody hurricane half the time. Right? This week, we're expecting light showers across the round in Sydney, excluding Friday, but still be somewhat wet. The weather in Queensland is perfect conditions for footy. With Parramatta and Brisbane playing this week in Darwin, it's going to be hot. So we're looking at over 30 degrees, but it's going to be thunderstorms. So don't want to touch I'm not touching that game at all. So that's just a hot tip there. Now, if you're looking at home and away, 5 out of the 8 home teams covered the line last week. 3 of the 5 were underdogs. And also in the 2 games that went over, the favourites covered the line in both of those games. So a little bit of analysis there. And it makes sense. I get that. You can't just pick on form, but a bit of some other things that you need to consider. So I was going to go a little bit deeper, but with limited time, that's all I could really come up with. But I've taken all that into consideration when picking my picks this week. So, but yeah, quite interesting. So let's get into this round. So round 8, it's a very long round. Games go up until Tuesday. Got old Anzac Day coming up soon. You normally do this big thing on Anzac Day, don't you? Like,
yeah, little trek into the city for myself and a couple of the boys. We did it last year. Did a bit of 2-up, bit of a pub crawl, ended up at the SCG. It's a good day. I'd highly recommend it for anyone in the Sydney area to get out amongst it.
I'll probably just sit back, sit on the couch, watch footy, sing the national anthem, and yell out racial slurs at the TV. Sounds like a great Anzac Day for me. But look, each to their own. Let's get into this. So, first game kicks off at Thursday 7:50. It's a great one, this one, at a core stadium. Got the South Sydney Rabbitohs versus the Penrith Panthers. Panthers, obviously favourites. Rabbitohs been great as of late. 6.5 points. It's about right if you're, leaning towards the Panthers here. Tab do have them at 5.5, just as an FYI. But looking at the lineups for the Rabbitohs, Tane Milnes on the wing, Keon Kaloamatangi, he's out. He's a big out, actually. And for the Panthers, no big changes to the squad. So, interesting one. The Rabbitohs have been excellent. Latrell responded to all the NRL 360 noise that's been coming out. Panthers got the win last week off the boot of Nathan Cleary, but weren't at their best. This is at a core stadium, so it's not a Panthers home game. But what are your thoughts on this one? I know you got 73 bets this week, so surely you're backing something here.
I got two. Got two on this game. It's gone strong off the gates. I'm going 2-0 again, start of the round. I've gone back to my defaulted unders for teams playing against Penrith. As I said, Penrith teams, even when Penrith play their worst football, they still seem to keep it tight. There's one thing that's still consistent with this Penrith team is the defense. Their attack is obviously hit and miss. So I've gone under 15.5 Souths points. And the other bet I have on this game, again, if I do look at recent head-to-head games, Souths have only scored more than the 15.5 won in their last 5. So food for thought, and that was the grand final. Outside of that, they haven't scored more than the 15.5 points. The other bet that I do have on this is based on, again, Penrith being consistent, but also Penrith are very fit and play 80 minutes, and that is Penrith to cover second half handicap at -3.5. So
3.5, is that it?
3.5 second half handicap. So they just got to score 4 more points in the second half, which again, Penrith this year, if you do look at their games, they covered it last week. Manly was obviously over at half time, but the week before they put 40 on the Raiders in the second half. And against these kinds of teams, that they will play 80 minutes. So I think I could see a second half. They might start slow.
Are you worried about a late surge? I can see the Panthers dominating for 70 minutes, being up by 12, 14, and then the Rabbitohs put on tries that don't matter.
That's the thing that can happen, obviously, and does make me worry a little bit. But I think if there's anything more likely to happen, I think Penrith and Souths go level at halftime, for example. I did see a little stat on Sportsbet, which I thought was pretty cool. The reigning premiers have won each of their last 19 matches played in April. So Penrith have won 19 straight games in April. It's
the conditions are perfect for Penrith.
So that would go 4 or 5 years back now. Penrith have not lost a game in April, roughly. So there's your stat right there. So, and plus, I think head-to-head, I think Penrith have won like 9 of the last 10 as well, apart from that week 1 of the finals in 2021. So that's my 2 bets. What do you have?
I'm just taking the unders in this one. Under 39.5 points. Coincides with my little bit of research last week. One, it's a Penrith game. They tend to go unders, full stop. It's also going to be, the conditions aren't going to be ideal for a high-scoring game. And the Penrith Panthers are away from Blue Bet, so you'd expect the Rabbitohs to play a little bit better. But given the conditions, given that these teams generally go under when they play each other, unless Penrith absolutely blows them out. But yeah, given the weather, I think this does go under. Souths have been playing really good. Penrith, look, defensively, they're excellent every single week. So I expect them to continue. Souths probably only score 2 tries, potentially 3. Question marks whether they get converted or not. So, but I can't see Penrith absolutely blowing the lights out in this one. So I think they play after last week. They probably just play a little bit more conservative, dominate the middle, grindy, mucky game. Keep it tight, but I think Penrith win by about 8-12. Convincing. If you're watching the game, it's a convincing win, but on the scoreboard, it won't be. So under 39.5 points for me.
Nice.
That's what I got for you. Let's jump straight into the Friday night game. We've only got the one. It's at 8 o'clock, 8 p.m. It's in TIO Stadium in Darwin. It's Parramatta Eels versus the Brisbane Broncos. Absolute scenes. My Broncos are favourites against Parramatta. I feel like we've lost against Parramatta 36 times in a row. They're definitely a bogey side. Last time we played them in Darwin, they dusted us up by 50. Same game with Brad Arthur, had 145 bottles on the table. So for the Eels, though, Hodgson's back. Brendan Hands, he drops back to the bench. Oh, Simonson serves his suspension and he could be back. So good luck picking him for us to score a try. The Broncos, we've got two big ins, though. Flegler's back and Corey Oates is back. Ricky, potential that he might miss it, but I did see a poster that Reynolds pulled up lame at training today. So
he's due a little niggle. He loves a niggle, eh?
He loves a good niggle, but it could just be a little a bit of media beat up, just to get in Parramatta's head. But Jock Madden's on the standby list, which he's no Adam Reynolds. But yeah, look, I'm not touching this game anyway. The conditions are absolutely fucked. Parramatta's a bogey team. I'm not going to bet against Brisbane ever. And if there's a chance that Adam Reynolds doesn't play, that just makes it even more difficult to pick. But what are your thoughts? You got something on this game?
I got two bets.
Of course, because you don't give a fuck about Brisbane. So go for it.
No, I don't. I've got over 18.5 Parramatta points. They've covered this five out of the 7 games this season. So despite Para being the up and down team that we know of, there's only been 2 games that they haven't covered that. And that was round 1 against Melbourne and round 4 against Penrith. So against pretty solid opposition. Otherwise, they have covered the 18.5 points. And the second one I have is Parramatta plus 3.5. I still think the Broncos aren't quite where they need to be, and I don't think last week they were down at halftime. Correct me if I'm wrong, against the Titans, and the Titans gifted them 2 tries basically.
Para first half's a great go. That's if I was going to bet on this game, that's what I'd be taking.
We should take it. Brisbane actually beat them last year, by the way, at CommBank Stadium. But prior to that, has been a bloodbath. But then up at Suncorp, Para beat Brisbane 53-6. So Para don't mind travelling north and playing the Broncos. I know it's in Darwin. Just be mindful of this game though. This time last year, Para played up at Darwin and played the Cowboys, which was like the perfect temperature for the Cowboys. But Jake Arthur played in the halves and Dylan Brown played in the centers. So yeah.
They were experimenting.
Yes.
I like Parramatta first half. The line for that's probably 1.5, but they could easily go in tied or Parramatta in front. Broncos love a good comeback. Nothing gets them focused, but nothing gets them more focused than losing. Yeah. It's either that or Kevy has all of a sudden figured out how to do a halftime speech.
Nah, I don't think so.
Something's going on there, but. Speaking of the Broncos, I read an article today that Selwyn Cobbo's put on 7 kilos since last year. 7 kilos.
Yeah. He's not as... He did still run away with a try the other day.
He did. He's got some pace. He's got a
It's interesting, though, because he always stood out to me as a big winger, like a big frame about him and everything. I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah, I was reading it, and he was 97 kilos at Origin last year. He's now at 104 kilos.
Jesus.
Yeah. And... he's still a young bloke. He's still got to grow. They reckon in one more off season, his body will be the same size as Greg Inglis's in his prime.
Okay.
So he's coming along nicely, but we're yet to put together two full 80 minutes just yet. So I think I've got question marks on Ezra Mam. He's not producing anything. He's just fucking up every game. He's an error machine. At least with Reece Walsh, he's giving you something. And fucking you around a bit, whereas Ezra's not really giving us anything at all. So, but no, really interested to see that game. Keen as fuck. I'll probably have a multi on it, of course, but for this podcast, I've got nothing for you. Into your slutty Saturday, we've got another 2 games. First one's the Bulldogs versus the Sharks. It's at Accor Stadium at 5:30 p.m. The line in this one's 14.5. Sharks are heavy favourites in this one. The Dogs are just decimated. They've got fucking nobodies on this team at the moment. Avarillo might play, but he could barely walk in the last game. Andrew Davey, who I actually like watching Andrew Davey play. Every time he plays, I'm like, who the fuck is this bloke? He's good. But he gets injured all the time. Gerald Skelton and Reese Hoffman could be late inclusions. I don't know who they are. And for the Sharks, there's been no changes. But the Dogs are already missing a lot of players. Carraz is out. The Fox is out. Your mate Kickow is out. The English bloke's out. They're they're missing a lot. So, and Reed Marnie he misses so many tackles these days. So, and they still have Kyle Flanagan. I saw a post on my socials today about, what's with Burden being named at 7 and Flanagan at 6. Do you know anything about that?
No, and I thought if they were going, because they're that desperate for players, that there would be a temptation to play Flanagan at 7, Reynolds at 6, and Burton back in the centres. But
yeah, but then you've switched the numbers for your halves, right? You don't have to. You can just play differently.
Yeah, just say, right, today, this week, you play like a 5'8", and you play like a halfback or something.
Yeah, it's not like they're playing out of position. You've just switched the numbers on the back of their jersey. If you're just talking about who receives the ball first,
or who steers the team
play
around
differently. It's really strange. It's strange to me. But yeah, look, the line on this one's 14.5. I don't have a bet on this one, but I was very close to taking the Sharks to absolutely wallop them. Then I was thinking about the trends from last week, how, the home teams tend to step it up. The games in Sydney are going to be wet. They tend to be unders. And I was like, what if the Sharks just smash these guys 18-6 or something like that? So, I don't know. There's too many contradicting signs for me to jump on something with confidence, but I was leaning the Sharks to cover. And for some reason, I keep thinking that Nicho Hynes will just score more points than the Dogs. There's no market for it yet, but I just got a feeling that he will.
I like that market.
Yeah, but what are you thinking on this game? What do you got?
I got Dogs under 12.5 points.
I was thinking that too.
I just can't see where the points are going to come from. The Dogs, even before these injuries, if you go back, they were relying on like Addo-Carr chips over the top, kick crossfield kicks.
Yeah,
it was Addo-Carr that was scoring all their tries anyway. So this is even give them back all the forwards. I can't see where these points are coming from. And that back line, like Braden Burns, Alamotti, Averillo, Declan Casey, and Hayes Perham just don't scream points to me. Kyle Flanagan, again.
Especially if it's going to be a little bit wet. They're going to struggle.
The benches for me, like the stark differences. You look at Josh Reynolds, Ockenbaugh, Andrew David, Ryan Sutton versus Wade Graham, Jack Williams, Royce Hunt, and Hazelton. Again, the Sharks just have a way better bench, better forward pack. Hines obviously playing for that New South Wales jersey because all the hype's been around and talking about it. The only thing is what you talked about, that it's wet and it's a miserable game, and the Sharks just try and hold on.
These guys have had a few shockers in the wet, these teams.
Yes. Well, the biggest one for the Sharks in the wet was the Warriors. They threw that game away. So Scott conceded a ton of points, but it's consciously, I think, at the back of their minds, the defense. So I've gone under 12.5 Dogs points because I just can't see, even if there's a chance they score 3 tries and don't convert any of them either if they're from the sideline.
Yeah. And one other thing is that Josh Reynolds is so bad at this caliber of NRL. Like the game's gone so far past him. They should have just played him every 6 weeks because, like, every time he does, the crowd erupts. Like he's a big impact to that team if he played once every 6 weeks.
Yeah, talk about sympathy signing. He's holding again. He's loving to be part of it, but he's holding out some kid coming through. Really, he offers nothing. Yeah, he offers absolutely nothing. Just for those people who love stats out there, he came on for 23 minutes last week. Made 9 tackles, missed 1, ran for 30 meters. That's all he did. I don't get what he's trying to do.
He gives away penalties in the ruck, offside. He's
week prior, 33 minutes, 4 missed tackles. Cowboys, 37 minutes, 3 missed tackles.
He misses a tackle every 10 minutes.
Yeah, but even when he does make a tackle, he gets hit and he just gets driven back. He's Hobbo's called it out there. Did they just sign him because of his good morale for the locker room? That's purely why they signed him, and because they got so many injuries, he's got to play.
Yeah, he's spot on there, Hobbo. Good job, mate. It's gone past him. I actually just came up with a theory in my mind as to why Burton's named at 7.
Yeah.
I reckon Oluwapu's going to get a run at 6. They're just going to see whether Birdo can handle the 7, whatever that may look like. But I think, well, they can't fucking score. Like, apparently that guy's meant to be good with the ball in hand. They just can't score points, these dogs. Like, you might as well get a young guy that can't tackle and replace the fucking Flanagan who can't tackle. So,
Yeah,
just bloody mate.
he's a live wire.
Yeah. So, but look, I tell you who else is meant to be a live wire, bloody Katoa from the Dolphins. But he's played a very steady, controlled game. He doesn't create too much, but yeah. But he's got the mentorship of Wayne there. He's probably not just cutting loose. He's probably sticking to his structures a bit, playing within himself. But yeah, so we shall see.
Correct, Huncho. Correct.
The difference there is your nephew's probably not swearing at a referee every week. Like that's what Reynolds is doing. But yeah. So what are your bets on this one? Dogs under 12.5.
Yep. I got the dogs under 12.5. That's it. So again, that's it.
Yeah.
Wait for this next game, mate. Oof.
And I have a feeling Nico Hines scores more points than the Dogs. That's a try and probably 4 conversions. He'll outscore the Dogs.
Yeah, probably.
All right, let's jump into the next one. This one's it's a pretty interesting one. I'm sure we're going to have a lot to say here. We've got a player that you love coming back from injury and a team that gets you frothing. We're talking about the Knights v Cowboys. The line in this one is 2.5. The Cowboys somehow favourites in this one. The game's played in North Queensland. Taumalolo's out. Cotter playing at the 13. But Jordan McLean's back from injury, which means Jake Granville doesn't have to start at prop. Can you believe this?
That, to me, is my fucking reason behind the Cowboys there. When he got named, I'm like, there we go. There's my boys.
Hey, can you remember any other player that's played in every position in the back line and as a prop and a hooker?
No, not now, era. Maybe back.
I've seen him play 40s. At lock as well. So he's played everywhere but the second row, Jake Granville.
He's a utility, they say.
He's played more positions than Sean Berrigan, this bloke.
That's a big call.
Big call. These little Queenslanders. But for Hobbo's Newcastle Knights, Kalen Ponga is back. He's playing his 100th match. He might finish it. Saifidi's back as well. Ponga playing at 6. Happy to take on some contact. I read a quote today where Ponga said that I'm not going to change my game.
No, I like consistency and loyalty to a lost cause, as they say.
Why did he miss so much time? What did he do overseas? Like, if nothing's going to change,
so that American trip. I hope they send Dewey over there. It's the American thing. Must fix them.
Yeah, so it's really.
If you look at his gone over there, right? Pappenhausen fucking still hasn't played. Turbo, he's fucking broken still. Yeah. Now fucking Ponga. Like, I'm like, what are they getting out of this? Like,
well, didn't Latrell go there as well?
Latrell did, yeah. But Latrell lost weight, and that was the big
one. Yeah.
Like, that's
the people probably went over there and like, you're a bit heavy, mate. Like, I don't know why. Just
your hammies probably can't take the weight. Right? Yeah,
you're a bit heavy. But yeah, interesting. How do you see this one playing out? You got a bet on this one?
I had 3 bets on this one. Here is your lock of the week, guys. I know I'm 0-1 on locks of the week, but I have Knights plus 2.5 to cover the line. I have over 20.5 Cowboys points and over 40.5 total points. I think this is going to go 24-30. It's just going to be, it lines up. It's perfect. We didn't even collaborate before this, but your little theory about Queensland and the weather, it lines up perfectly. It's going to be points. Everything to me says here that this is going to be overs. The Cowboys, I think, are just lost. I don't know what they think they can do. They'll obviously score points because the Knights do concede points. I know they played amazing against Penrith last week, but take that game out there, they still concede. Like, they conceded 24 against the Warriors. They conceded 32 against Manly. They still concede. Like, they concede points. So I can see the Cowboys covering because the Cowboys actually score close to 20 points a game as well. Plus the weather in Queensland. No Tom Lolo, so Ponga might be safe for 1 week. What if he does? If he does go down, surely that's see you back at fullback. But Lockie Miller's been doing an okay job. I like this Knights team.
I reckon see Peter Hiku hitting Ponga high.
Yeah, you know one other thing, I love to stick the boot into a team that's struggling, but ever since my name theory, when you tell players that your pronunciations change, like Nene or Nanai, Jeremiah Nanai was better than Nanai or Nene, whatever he was. Jeremiah Nene last year better than Nanai, whatever he is now. So that's my theory on it. So over 40.5 total points, over 20.5 Cowboys points, but line Knights to cover plus 2.5. If you put just those in the same game multi, 650.
I can see that. I'm also taking the overs. Conditions are excellent for this. It's going to be a lot of points. Cowboys don't know what the fuck's going on. They still figure out how to score. They just can't win. My casual bet leading into this, I was just like, I thought this would be a pick 'em. But to get 2.5 points for the Knights, I was like, here we go. I'm all over it. But then I was like, am I being a casual again? And then I was like, the Cowboys are at home. And I was like, let's just take the totals. So that's how I landed. Another reason for the totals is Ponga's back in for the Knights. They lose something defensively having Ponga there or not gamble, but they gain something in attack. So the Ponga inclusion all points to more points.
Yeah.
And the Cowboys have to figure their shit out eventually. And it's not necessarily the defensive side where they're so bad. It's because their attack is so shit. Like they give up the ball on the wrong side of the field. And I think they're just playing frustrated. So naturally there are cracks. I don't think that defense is the issue. Their attack is just awful. Like every one of their spine is playing well down on last year. Drinkwater doesn't know what's going on. He's running sideways all the time.
That's the one, sideways.
Dearden doesn't know what's going on. Townsend's going sideways as well. No one went straight. They were all just going sideways straight away. Reece Robson, you could argue that last year, if he kept that up, he could be in the frame for Origin this year, knowing that Appy's going down. Cook, he's probably your first bet, but Reece Robson could be a chance. But you wouldn't even consider him now. So, yeah, I think the overs. That's what I'm taking. Taking the overs. My casual play was on the Knights, but the overs is what I'm like. Look, at some point, the Cowboys are going to win a game, and it's like, they're going to turn their season around. I don't think they're going to make the 8. I think Ryan Girdler, I listened to Triple M on the weekend. He was saying the same thing. Don't think they're making the 8.
Now they're all jumping on.
Denham Kemp said the same thing. I don't think they're going to make the 8. Yep.
Denham Kemp said that, mate. That guy sits on a fence for a living. And he's making that call. Where were they all before the season started when I got him at $3.50 on Bet365 to miss the 8? And I've still got it. My cash out now is probably about 80% of what
80% of the way there.
So I'll bet maybe 75%, but it's definitely more than double what I put on my bet. So where was this start of the year?
Hey, this is why you have your own show, mate. You know,
this is why we should be paid to do this. The big bucks.
We should get paid the big bucks. All right, so that's enough of this Cowboys game. We both think it's going to be over. You think the Knights will cover? You think the Knights will cover and the Cowboys score more than 20.5 points?
Yeah, I think this is going to be like a 30 to 20, 22 game. Like, I can see the Cowboys scoring points, but I just think
trading tries. Try. I reckon there'll be a try, knocks it on the kickoff, and then another try.
That's what
weird shit like that's going to happen.
I think so too. I also think they'll get the refs will give Knights a little leg up from here to there because I think they'll feel bad for last week. So
you reckon?
Yeah, the hair pulling, no good.
The old hair pull. Look, on the hair pull, I think it's a fair penalty, right? Yeah. I think it's a fair penalty. But it's a freak accident. It's weird that it happens. Luai's hair is always like that, and no one's grabbing his hair. When you watch the NRLW, those bitches aren't grabbing each other's hair either.
I wish they did. It'd be even better.
I think it's, Tyson Frizzell just might be a collar grabbing monster. He tackles a lot of people that way. If he gets beaten outside, he's grabbing collars. He's not diving at the legs. He's an old head. If he dives at the legs, he knows he has to get back up again.
Good point.
It's a freak accident. It's a fair penalty, and look, it's a bit weird that it's happened. So, let's get into our seedy Sunday. Queensland derby here. It's the Dolphins versus the Titans. The line's 2.5 in this one. This also boasts the highest points line of the round. So, Sportsbet obviously have the same trends with the games up in Queensland being absolute points fests. But your Dolphins are the favourites. They're minus 2.5. Looking at the lineups, the Dolphins haven't made too many big changes. although Felice Kafusi's back.
The hitman.
And for the Titans, AJ Brimson, he's been listed in the reserve, so there's a chance that he plays, but where they put him, I do not know, because Campbell's been excellent. Tanner Boyd's been solid. Foz is probably the first person you have to pick in their spine, given how much they're paying him. Chris Randall's actually played good at hooker. You could put Tanner Boyd at 9. You could. And then move Brimo into 6. Or you could put Brimo at 14. But at the same time, I think they've got Cruz Lemming. I think he's a bloke from the UK playing off the bench, and he's actually been pretty good. So who knows what Holbrook's going to do. But look, it's going to be a good game. This one I don't have a bet on, but I was very close to picking the overs purely on the games in Queensland are high scoring. The Dolphins and Titans, a lot of their games have gone over as well. But then I worry it's a big, important game. I think in the Queensland, the Titans-Broncos game was the only Queensland derby game that's gone over. All the other ones have been unders. So, yeah. And given that the line's so high, I was like, maybe not. Because maybe there's a response here. Because the Dolphins have to respond after that shit show in the second half last month. And the Titans, their shit show in the second half too. So, yeah. No play for me, but what are your thoughts? You got something on this?
I have Titans plus 2.5. I just think the Dolphins again are going through that period now where their depth is being tested. The collapse is imminent. Why? Like, I get it's a Queensland game, but you can't tell me that they're going to have so many people at Suncorp watching this game compared to having it out at Redcliffe. Like, that's silly to begin with. Secondly, I just think the depth is what's going to start hurting and costing them. They just don't have it there. Titans, to be fair, which Hunter just pointed out, they were just some dumb plays last week against the Broncos. They were up at halftime, so they've got the game to go with the better teams. It's just, making sure they can put it together for 80 minutes is the big question. But I think I'm just going to play 2.5. It's not probably my least confident bet of the week, but you know me, I had to get a piece of it. So,
well, I think the Dolphins have the advantage in coaching. Wayne Bennett's a much better coach than young Holbrook. This is technically a home game for them. They do get an enforcer back in Kafusi. I think it's Kafusi up against Fafita this week. So that'll be an interesting clash.
That will be, actually.
Keen to see that one. Nick Rema's been creating points. He's been good, but defensively he's not the best. The Hammers lost a little bit of sizzle as of late, I believe. But Asako, how about Jermaine Asako? Can you believe this guy?
Bit of an athlete about him, eh? Like, he just looks, with his physique and the way he moves and everything, his quality.
Like, he's got a great body. Like, physically, he's shredded. He's athletic. A specimen. He's a specimen. He really is. He looks great when he's sweaty. His Instagram, he's got a great Instagram from what I remember.
Okay.
Yep. But I always said it when he was at Brisbane that he's an excellent winger. He's such a good winger. But for some reason, half of the games he'd play fullback.
Yeah.
Because that's what he wanted. I know through the junior grades, he was an excellent fullback, but the fullbacks didn't have to pass then.
Yeah.
They had to run.
Correct.
But he's back to career best form. He scores excellent tries. His goal kicking is still excellent. He's gone up like 300K in fantasy this season or something like that. He's been fucking tremendous.
Yeah, he's 650. It's priced me out, so.
Yeah, like I picked him up this week, not gonna lie, but he's doing a wonderful job at the moment. And Jeremy Marshall King, I think he's been excellent for the Dolphins. He's been fantastic. He'll probably play in the next Test match. I think they'll have him and Brandon Smith.
Yeah,
playing for New Zealand because obviously Smithy can't play 80 minutes.
No,
barely gets through 30 these days.
He struggles, mate. The Sydney diet's got him.
JMK baby. But yeah, look, I don't know how this one's going to go. I think you can take the Titans 2.5. I think leading into this game, their form is better. Against Brisbane, they were looking really good. That first half, they looked excellent. But,
yeah,
Kevy revved up the boys. They came out, they dominated.
His all-time halftime speech.
What do you think of the Tino sin binning? I thought that was fucking stupid.
Yeah, it was just stupid. It wasn't.
It was ridiculous. I was
like, if it didn't happen, I was like, whatever. That was weird.
Yeah, because like The ref said he had 3 infringements. The reality is it was only 2. The first one, he was offside at marker, or he was offside, but then he got called out as offside, and he put his hands up, and then the Broncos player ran into him, but then they blew it 6 again anyway. Fair enough. It was in the way. He didn't move, but
Correct.
he was there. Fair enough. And then he retreats the 10. Then he's onside. A Titans player makes the tackle. It's a half tackle. He's just barely hanging on, but the Broncos player is down, and then Tino lands on him a little bit. Yeah, it is a flop, but then he gets binned.
Yeah,
but you could see he was pulling out, like he was like going to do it, and he pulled out. It wasn't the most deliberate play to slow it down.
I think the ref was itching, just wanted to get amongst.
Do you reckon if Tino had a normal haircut, he gets away with it?
Yeah, I think it's a new theory, the long-haired player theory.
Because you know how out of all reports, Tino is an amazing bloke. He's a great guy. He's very respectful, great with the fans, community. He's an excellent bloke, right? He just looks like a scallywag. He looks like he's got quit in Australia.
He's got the Jerome Luai tag because he's got long hair. I get that's a very good theory. And if we go through long hair players like Dom Young, what the fuck did he do to get dropped? It's because he has long hair. Like, I could go on and on. There's a good fucking theory about that one. Corey Waharianara looks like a nice guy, apparently, but then on the field, cops it. You go to players who have had long hair and lost, like Tarpany. Short hair Tarpany, everyone likes. Long hair, he's a dog now. He's a grub.
He's a dog, yeah.
He's Mrs. Wincher.
Emre Gula. I thought, what the fuck with this mullet, mate? He looked I would have blew so many 6 agains on that bloke. Clean haircut last weekend. Played a great game.
Play on.
But, one thing, there's a lot of ratties coming in. A lot of ratties.
Yeah, the rats are out. The rats are out.
I think everybody, Katoni Staggs is growing one. I was like, what's going on here? There's just a lot of ratties. And look, I'm follically challenged up front, but I could grow a ratty. I really could.
I think you should. I think you should, just to prove a point.
Yeah. Well, look, I'll consider it. I'll consider it. All right, let's get.
You had a mullet. You had a mullet this time last year, wasn't it?
I had a skullet.
A skullet. You had a skullet on them.
Yep.
That was nothing compared to a ratty.
00 up front here, and it was nice and long at the back. Used to flick it a little bit, so look, great times when I was young. Let's get into the next game on the Sunday. It's at 4:00. We're looking at the West Tigers versus the Manly Sea Eagles. This game's being played out at Campbelltown Sports Stadium. For the Tigers, Tommy Talau finally comes back. Fucking hell, he's been sitting on my emergency list in fantasy for so long. I'm just praying that he does something. But that Tigers team looks shocking. I must admit, Jareem Buller, never heard of him. He's probably really good. He's just going into a shocking Tigers team. Not a great place to be blooded. Wakeham starting at 6 with Dewey out with his 3rd ACL. Charlie Staines back on the wing, but he was good at fullback in their last game. Like, he was one of the only bright lights in that game on Easter Monday.
Apart from that dropout, it was pretty good.
Apart from that dropout, he actually played really well. So, again, some excellent coaching from the Tigers star. And for Manly, Schuster looks like he's going to come back. And all the bruises from last week, they're still going to be in attendance. So, look, I was surprised to see it at only 10.5. I am taking Manly to cover that 10.5. Tigers have been dog shit, but somehow they score these tries in the last 10 minutes to shorten up shorten the gap. But I think what we saw from Manly last week, and it was very promising. So if Manly don't destroy the Tigers this week, you probably won't find any consistency from them all year. But they should go on with it. Last week would have really got them up. The confidence would be sky high. And if it's as simple as just fucking beat the shit out of the other team because they had the people to do it, they'll win a lot of games. They just play with too much finesse sometimes. Too much finesse. So if they can keep playing straight, I reckon they do a number on these blokes. But what do you think?
Yeah, I've got the 10.5 as well. That's my bet. Reason being, last 4 games between Manly and Tigers, Manly have covered that line. And nothing is pointing to me to say that they won't cover that line. I'll tell you what, speaking of the long hair, probably mistreated, Dane Laurie. How the fuck is he not a fullback?
Oh.
Hayden, man.
Too much Instagram activity, mate.
Maybe, but long hair, that's all I'm going to point to, because if I do look at that Tigers 17, none of the long hair boys are in there. If I look outside the 17, there's little Dane Laurie sitting there, and if I go past him, Sean Bloor, long hair.
Yep,
Demoted to jumper 19.
Mate, party out the back's not welcome out in Balmain.
Whereas go have a look at your little opposition this weekend. It's a party everywhere.
There's locks everywhere.
Morgan Harper, I think the long hair's keeping him in the team because he sure ain't doing anything else. Then you got Olakawatu. That's a scary motherfucker with long hair.
Oh, yeah, it is.
So that is where the Tigers are going wrong. Yeah. Long hair. Like, the long hair brigade is the reason why you need long hair in your team. And if you go through these teams, they play better with long hair players. That is my theory, and I'm now going to start betting on that. But Tigers are not going to cover that. Sorry, not going to hold that line out. Manly win comfortably.
Bang, bang. No, they really should. And look, just because it's a Tigers home ground, I wouldn't factor that in. They've been absolutely terrible at home. They've been worse at home.
Yeah, the Leichhardt theory now is shit because everyone goes there and has a laugh at them. Like, that's gone out the window.
Bloody shocking. So, look, I don't want to fucking dwell too much on this game, but fuck, this team sucks.
It does.
This team is shocking. Poor fellas. But let me have a look. Do I have any other something rough on this? I'm going to make a bold prediction here. I'm going to say that Ethan Bullimore scores a double. Ethan Bullimore. He's starting in the second row. You can see this bloke. He runs some great lines and he's got some good speed over 40 meters. So I reckon there'll be quite a few line breaks and young Ethan's going to be pushing through, pushing on. All right, let's get into what do we have? The Tuesday games. Look at this.
I will MC that. I'll commentate that game. That'd be a good game. Imagine a long hair team.
The long hair v concussion charity match. Let's, because I think we'll go through the next few games pretty quickly. But let's spend a couple of minutes here. Give me a starting 13 for the long hair team. Who have you got?
The long hair team. We'd have Dane Laurie at fullback. I'm giving him redemption story. Dom Young on one wing. Yep. The other wing is this is going to be tricky now. You've got to have space for Aaron Woods. Tupanua's coming up. Jerome Luai at 5'8".
Tuapolotu on one of the wings. He's got some hair.
Yeah, he does have hair. You got to have Papali'i and Barlow in your props. There's your two props. Corey Hawiranaya is one of your second rowers.
You could have Gashevsky as one of your second rowers. He's fucking
good. There's your other. Your dummy half will be an interesting one. You could make
Jake
a case.
Jake Granville's got a lot of hair.
Just play Jake Granville anywhere. But the other one was Cotter as well. So yeah, Granville. Sorry, Granville can be one. Oh, Cowboys are stacked with long hair players. Maybe
that's their problem. I think.
Yeah, but they're not. Oh yeah, true. But Ruben Cotter, halfback. That's an interesting one.
Nico Hines, of course.
Oh, Nico, of course. Fuck, this is a great team.
Yeah, it's a pretty strong team.
It's a very good team. I think long hair team wins this. I think concussion can't finish, but it's a very good team.
You could have Satili Tupanua. He's coming back soon.
Yeah, I'll have him in my team.
Yeah.
The theory though goes out the window because the Dolphins don't have any long hair players. So that's a bit.
I think maybe next week. Because I think the long hair team will beat the concussion team.
Tohu Harris has got to be.
Oh yeah. He might captain the squad, to be honest. He's a fucking warrior, that bloke.
Dallin.
Dallin's got great hair. He's got
Dallin's
that perm and shit.
Josh Curran. Curran's got to be in there as well. Fuck,
they got some great hair. Yeah. I think next week we might put this side up against the Dark Previews cut, which is your skinheads. The skinheads going next week. You know, a couple of Warriors players are making a play for it. As Huncho mentioned, Toby Rudolph recently joined the team.
He has. He's changed his allegiance. Yeah.
You know, Daly Cherry Evans. He's auditioning at the moment. He wants a piece of that.
Putting a good case forward for it.
Josh Hodgson, you got to have him in there.
Oh, you must. And that Cronulla Ford is that lanky fuck. You have him in there too.
the real big guy.
Really huge.
Whenever he comes on, they talk about how big he is.
Thomas Hazelton. He does look big.
Yeah, I think
Ray Stone.
Yeah, Ray Stone. Yes.
It's a very good team. There's some good teams.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but the concussion 17 are in trouble every week. But
yeah, and then you've got to have Tavunga and Walker in there. That's some really key pieces to the team.
Yeah.
But I think it would be a great team. I might put Mark Nichols as my captain just to lead the boys around. That's what I'll have. I'll coach the team, obviously. And I have Peter Sterling as my assistant, Darren Lockyer there as well, and Alfie will run the water, of course. So look, it's a strong side.
It's a very good team. It's a very good team.
We're stacked, absolutely. Let's get into the games on Anzac Day. So on your Tuesday, looking at Roosters versus Dragons. Roosters favourites in this one. The line is 12.5 points. Joey Manu moving to the 6. Kiri to 7. Sam Walker dropped to the reserves. Momorowski comes into the centres. Angus Crichton's coming back. Who knows in what state. But as long as he wears the right kit, I think Roosters fans will be happy. And for the Dragons, very minimal changes for them. Did you see how the fucking Dragons got docked the interchange before the game even started? Did you see that last week?
That's a team who's fucking just can't take a trick at the moment.
Idiots. Honestly, so dumb. Well, what are your thoughts on this one? I was hooing and humming. I had this sour taste in my mouth about the Roosters last week. I was actually hoping the Roosters would come up against a team that's pretty good so I can back against them because they just started my betting week the wrong way. But they come against the Dragons who seem to play the same every fucking year.
I've got Dragons plus 12.5.
Tell me more.
As I said, the Roosters are up there with the old avocado on toast, beach camping, your pen license, Friends TV show, super overrated. Dragons, I feel like they're not great, but the media are just going to hammer them until they get a new coach, and they're going to hammer that coach again. They're not getting blown off the park apart from that game against Cronulla, and otherwise they've been in every game so far. And last year they did beat them at the SCG, and I'm pretty sure they come up against similar lineups at similar times in the game. So I think, again, I think they can keep it close. I don't think this Roosters team is what it should be playing like, and I don't think it will be. So I'm just taking the plus 12.5 Dragons.
Yeah, looks going to be a great game. I don't know which way to lean. Roosters are at home as well. Do they bounce back? I've been saying it for weeks. They're weak around their second rowers. Satili's back and Angus Crichton. And then I was looking at the lineup, mate. We got more additions to the fucking Skinheads team. I forgot about Matt Lodge. You need a big old bookend with a nice shiny head. And Huntro's got a great comment as well that we need to have Felice as co-captain because you need some more aggression on your edges. So
true.
He's come a long way to join the team, Felice.
He has. He's gone the long way there. He's, played through the years and punched away and finally got his crack. So, like Cody Walker, I agree. Like, just take your time. Your time will come to make that team. But this comment by Hobbit, that is a very good call and overrated. Bubble tea is unbelievably overrated.
It is.
If you think it's fantastic, you think it's the greatest thing, fucking close your window, as in your Internet Explorer, whatever you're watching this on, and go to bed, mate, because bubble tea is very overrated. And I'm adding that to my list of overrated things. Thank you.
Thank you. Look, I'm I do have my fair share of bubble tea, probably, once every 6 weeks. Never purchased by myself, would never go out of my way to do so. But if it's offered, if it's on the cards, I'm like, yeah, all right, I'll take it. They're like, what do you want in it? I was like, whatever the fuck you want, because
you're purely drinking that for morale boosting. Clearly, like there's no desire to get it because you think it's great.
Oh no, it's a raw. I don't even pay for it when I get it, but when it's on offer, someone else is shouting, I'll suck down a bubble tea, get my sugar level up. But yeah, interesting. How do you think Joey Marnie goes at 6?
I don't think. I think they're obviously going to have a lack of Harbour Bridge passes because your boy Walker loves to throw a cutout pass, so the passing is going to be put away, and Dragons are going to probably have to defend their insides a bit more. But yeah, I think it's okay. I don't know. I think
he doesn't pass much at all, Joey.
he doesn't pass much. And I think previously he's gone there with no expectations on him due to an injury. So he's had to slide in there. So he's just done a job and everyone loved it. And he's played well, don't get me wrong. But he's literally been put in there now because of the form of someone else. So it's different expectation put on his shoulders in terms of like he needs to turn this team around because at the moment Kiri and Walker aren't doing it. So
yeah. I think they just need to figure out this whole discipline thing. Like the
they
penalties.
love giving away a penalty, just holding down and
stupid.
Yeah, it's the discipline, which again they've always been like that though. For years and years and years, the Roosters have always been a team. Back before the set restart, they will lay on you on the 10-meter line and just give away penalties and reset the line. They're happy to do it until they make an error.
But the game's changed. What was I looking at when the Roosters won the comp? When was that? Like 5 years ago?
Yeah.
When the Roosters won the comp, they copped more penalties than any other team by a long way.
Yeah,
right?
They were the most penalized team. Yeah.
But because of that, we have this 6 again rule. And the game has just changed. You can't just give away penalties anymore. You get fucking crucified.
Yeah.
Like you go to the bin a lot more, which they have. They've got the all-time leader in sin bins in the modern game.
What about the stat with Radley? I don't know if I shared it last week, but he's been to the bin. Yeah. Every time he's been to the bin, they've lost. And right on full time, he went to the bin. I'm like, whoop, kept that record going. Good man.
I think it's 8 times now, or 6 games, but some of those games you went to the bin twice.
Yeah. That's pretty good.
But yeah, it's as if they're instructed. You do not lose the fucking ruck ever. Like you do not lose
even if they're beating you for that 2-minute period and you're up by 10, we give away a penalty. We don't concede a couple meters. That's their mantra.
Give away the penalty and reset your line. It's not working, Trent. Not working, brother. But look, it is just the Dragons, so they should get over. But fuck, the question is by how much. Now another great game. It's everybody's second favorite team, the Warriors, versus the Melbourne Storm. The line in this one is 12.5, which I thought that's pretty fucking big. But it is at Amy Park. Nelson is back. Nick Meaney is back. Niokore is back for the Warriors. Melbourne was shocking last week. There's got to be a response in this one. They have beaten the Warriors, I think, 13 straight games or something ridiculous like that. I think, what was it, 10 years ago? Warriors were the bogey team for the Storm.
Yeah.
The Warriors don't play like that anymore. No, they're actually predictable now.
Yeah.
They play the same style of footy as everybody else. They just have 2 wonderful ball blokes tearing it up in the middle, and Sean Johnson in career best form. That's the main difference here. But yeah, look, I think there could be a bounce back from the Storm, but I like the Warriors too much. They're a team that I just can't bet against now. I can't do it. I love them too much. I also got Sean Johnson very early in fantasy, and he is just giving me an excellent return. So I don't want to bet against them ever. So look, I'm not sure on anything here unless you can convince me otherwise. But what have you got on this one?
Warriors plus 12.5. I know it's going against the form and the history, but I can't go against them either. I just think they're actually good to watch as well. Like the way they play that try, I think just before the half time, they went across field and your boy came back and burnt the Cowboys through the middle. It's pretty good. I like them. I think they still have that dumb football in them from time to time where they could have iced the game. But again, they've lost 2 games all year. They're 5-2. Like, why wouldn't you think they could keep it close with the Storm, who have been so inconsistent and unreliable? So I'm taking plus 12.5. I think I will tip the Storm, but I think they'll win ugly in that 1-12 margin.
Yeah, it should be a close one. I was just thinking through why do I like the Warriors so much. It's not because they have 2 ball blokes, although I do like them. I like seeing players just bounce back. Like, and the Warriors have a lot. Like Dylan Walker, in his last year at Manly, he was injured half the time playing off the bench, and Manly sucked. Sean Johnson's career was dead. It was fucking gone. To think that the Warriors signed him, I was like, what the fuck? Why would you do that? It's meant to be a rebuild. Now you're going back to the future type bullshit. Why would you do that? But Sean Johnson has turned it around like a motherfucker, which is, it's really good to see because Sean Johnson's one of those good guys in rugby league. Like, he's not a dickhead. He's probably got, overpaid once upon a time, so he's copped it for that, but he's never really done anything wrong. And unfortunately, he got injured, He got injured. So it's really good to see him really bouncing back. And even Chance got, booted from Canberra pretty much. Montoya, he was unwanted at the Dogs, and the Dogs have no one in their backline right now.
No, none.
And this guy is a fucking freak. Like, they don't give out most improved player awards in the NRL, but he'd be up there. He's excellent.
I'm sure he tells himself that when he goes to bed going, I am the most improved.
Oh, 100%. I think as Andrew Webster lays next to him, he whispers it to him. So, look, we do like the Warriors. I like them too. Just questioning whether, you know what, fuck it. We're doing Warriors plus 12.5 right here. That's what we're taking. You convinced me. You didn't have to say much at all. You just had to let me think about why I like these motherfuckers so much, and we're on. We're taking the Warriors to cover that. 12.5 is a great line. Let's go. Let's rip in. All right. But look, we've just hit an hour. Is there anything more that you want to cover off, talk about?
No, I've listed off some overrated things today, and I hope that I get some more suggestions on what people think is overrated. But I've definitely added the bubble tea, because bubble tea is a very good one. That, it's been a while because I haven't been around a bubble tea store. I don't even know there's one in Penrith. But definitely overrated. Up there, that's right up there with avocado on toast in terms of the food and drink stakes. So, yeah.
Okay. All right. Beautiful. Well, look, I love you and leave you. See you again. Probably not the same time next week. We get back to our Tuesdays if I don't sleep through it. Good luck this week. Long round. Get some wins on your two up. Come back to this podcast next week with a story for us, eh?
Will do.
Thank you all for watching. This has been Luke and Dan from Dark Previews. Have a wonderful week. Gamble responsibly if you want to.
Yeah.
Sub to the channel cause your boy's getting busy. Coming to you live from the west side of Sydney. We've got the free picks and the juice on the daily. It's all free.